Hi everyone, welcome back to the Jansen Art Studio. I'm David Jansen. Welcome to another fast, fun little painting. What we're going to do today is some roses. We may include a little butterfly or a bee and stuff. We'll take a look at how it's going to go. I am starting out with exactly like you've seen me do on several other videos. I'm using an 11 by 14 panel this time. This is the Super MDF panel here. And then I gave it a coat of a light gray color. That's it. That's a premix color in our Heritage Multimedia line. And it had just a little bit of medium white in it, just to warm it just a little bit. But it doesn't make a real color difference because we're going to make the color in the background right now. I'm going to be using some of my 6 colors of the Paint It Simply, which is our cool red, violet, naphtha red, light, Hansa yellow, phthalo blue, black, white. I've been adding some pine green lately, and I'm also going to add another little color today, the quinacridone violet, which I've been doing quite a bit lately, and I've loved that color in some of the paintings. So some of you have wanted to add some other little cooler reds into there, and this is one that works very well. Okay, let's go right into this. I'm just going to take my 3/4 inch brush and some extender down here. We'll take a big old dollop, and I just dropped that right out of my palette. So we'll put a big old dollop of white down here with this, and let's try a little touch of blue into that. Just a touch of our blue. Maybe we'll take it, this time we'll try a little bit of magenta into that magenta, which is the quinacridone violet color. That's kind of a real pretty color. Let's get just a little more blue into that. It's kind of a real pretty light color here. Try something a little different. Very light violet color here. Let's just push this into the painting here. Let this go over. So I'm going to be wiping it down here with a towel in a little bit. But keep it, instead of using a medium white like we've done so many times, having this kind of gray color makes the background feel and appear very, very different, for a different feel for our painting here. Let's change the color up, maybe a little more blue over here. Okay, so I do like to vary the background colors. I do like them to change. You know, you're an artist, we need to have some of this change. Now, before I go add some greens and stuff down low, I'm just going to take my paper towel and go over this. I like vignetted backgrounds, and I'm going to have this one a little bit more solid, but I like backgrounds to have a little bit of movement into them. And let's just splash maybe a little bit of that brighter blue. Take a little brighter blue, phthalo blue and white. Let's just splash a little bit right in here where we want that viewer's eye to go, right in there. Let's just splash a little bit more of that violet right out here so that color changes a bit. That quinacridone violet is just very powerful color, beautiful color into the background here. And very, 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 very powerful though. Let's just splash that around. And I'm just getting a feel for the coloring in the painting that I want to have here. Now I'm going to drop down here, add a little bit of the pine green right into this. Let's warm this up a little bit more, even so, with a little bit of that yellow. We can even drop it into some of that quinacridone violet over here, which will tone that down just a bit. And let's put some of this green in here, and we'll just let these two colors, bring them all together. Let's just run our paper towel over that for a second and bring those colors together and that movement all together there, like that. That's pretty. And let's streak these, maybe have a streak of these colors together here. Boom, like that. Some of that movement, this is what I like to show. You know, sometimes in my painting I like to get like this kind of movement like this. Just a bang movement here, like this. And just grab this light color like this and just go bang. And grab that movement out like that. See, that just adds some wonderful feeling of movement to the painting. Now, let's go in and let's what I'm going to do so I can keep this under camera is I'm going to push this out of the way here a little bit. I'll use some of that a little bit later. So let's just grab some of our quinacridone, a little bit of our naphthol red light. This makes a beautiful medium red color. It's not quite as warm as the naphthol red light. And we'll come in here and let's just state we're going to put a rose right in here. Okay, so we'll just drop that right here like that. That rose is going to go there. We'll put one falling down to the side right down here like that. Okay, so maybe there'll be one falling right down there. Let's take a little bit more of that quinacridone violet, a little bit more of this red right here. Let's drop that right into this side of the rose here. There we go, right in there. Like that. That's pretty. And we'll find where that bowl is going to be on that rose. Let's drop some of that just real casual. I strike it and then I'll pull some out, and notice that I move my brush in all different directions here. It's very sketchy. I don't want to make, I want to keep everything just very light feeling right now. So I'm way back on my brush. I've modeled the color and I'm kind of putting in the shape of the roses. Now, if you're new to this, I have lots of videos, lots of books, lots of things that teach you on painting the shapes of the rose. And the rose is really just kind of, in my mind, I'm seeing the 3 circles of the rose. And that's all I'm really painting is these 3 circles. And you need to spend a little bit of time with understanding those structures. And then you can do this more casual and quickly. And that's what I try to do. So I'm going to push in some dark right into the center there of that one. Let's push in just a little bit of dark here into that rose right there. Okay, maybe have a little bit of the dark here that will come out here onto these other little petals that'll come out of that rose there, right there like that. So that kind of sets up where that rose is going to be. Okay. Now, let's come in and let's go towards our violets. You know, I don't paint that many violet or purpley colors. And so let's just grab some of the quinacridone and just grab a little red violet, a little bit of blue. Let's get some purpley colors up here. And we'll start in some purple little blossoms here. Just some ideas of some of them. There we go, just like that. Here. Change the value of these a little, sometimes a little lighter, sometimes heading right down here towards that red. So it gives a little warming feeling to these, and a little different feel to those right there like that. Okay. And let's just push some colors in here. Maybe some light and some soft ones right out here. There, just some light, soft little ones right there. Maybe a little bit darker, a little deeper color, maybe right down in here. Push those back. There we go, just like that. Okay, that looks good. Now I'm just going to wipe this brush for just a second because I want to come in and I want to add some smaller, like little stems and stem moves. So I'm going to go down to like my number 6 here, and we'll take some pine green here. Okay, and maybe we'll take a little bit of the red violet right with that. Those two together, pine green and red violet, make beautiful browns, and we might want to lighten that just a bit with it. See that beautiful brown it makes, and then a little bit of that Hansa yellow in there. And it's a good color to use to make your brown that way because you already have green in your palette and you already have this red violet. So a good harmony, rather than introduce burnt sienna, which I do a lot, or burnt umber or raw umber or something like that, I'll just go ahead and make my brown from the colors I already have. So and that's a good way to do that. So let's just state that right in here. And let's just drop in. Just use like like the corner of the brush here. Just kind of drag that out like this. Okay, and it'll put in some little stems here for these. Okay, there we go, like that. Little ideas of stems. And we want to leave this a little open, so we don't want to get too many. And let's even bring this in just a bit more here, so we'll give a little calyx there to that one. Very, very casual. Okay, let's just use the corner here, and we'll get like little stems here to this one. Little stems, little ideas of little stems coming out here like this. Just use the corner and let it hit and miss and drag, and see it just puts on very light, airy type stems here. We'll let that come up like that. Maybe another one coming off here like that. Just whisper that color out. Okay, let's set up some softer leaves. Let's go pine green. Let's set a little bit of, I didn't even clean my brush, so I have some of that brown in there, help tone that down. Let's go with a real soft green, maybe a little bit lighter here. And let's just come right out here, and we will just set up some leaf shapes. Now, a lot of times I get very playful with the leaves, and I don't do perfect leaves. And this time we'll get a little bit more perfect with our leaves, just to do something different with you. Okay, so we'll get a little bit more of a definite leaf shape here to these as we fill these in here like that. There, we'll make pretty light little leaves here like that. There we go. A little airiness to that. Leave the spaces. Don't fill it all up. We'll leave some spaces in there. Okay. Let's add a little bit of one or two out here like this. Right out here. Those will come out. Let's make a little bit more of the pine green. Get it a little darker so it'll be a little more contrasty. Right here into the center area. Right here it's going to be between those flowers there. And we can get a little bit more contrast right in here and develop a leaf shape here. More like ovals. You think of them like little oval shapes and things. But I don't want to fill up too much there. I want to leave some of that that airiness there. Maybe one or two coming back here like this. There. That's nice. Maybe just a little playful down here. I just can't help it. A little playful down here. I like my leaves to be very playful, and then that's enough. We'll stop there so we don't fill up too much with our painting. Now let's turn these into like little primroses and stuff here. So what I'll do is let's give them little yellows into the center. I've painted a lot of primrose, not so much with you in Paint It Simply and quick and easy painting techniques, but a lot of them in the Dutch. We've done a lot into our Dutch painting because they use the primrose quite a bit. But in the quick and easy, we'll just give here some yellow centers there for these guys. So we'll pull some yellow out towards those violet colors like that. Those would be pretty. Here we go. Maybe just little ideas of yellows here. A little more yellow here. Very different. Okay. And we'll take a little, the primrose have a little dark center. So let's just take some of our brown green here. And let's just tap in a little dark center there. Our idea of these centers here. We'll just let this one go back behind there for now. And then we'll soften that. We'll come back in and soften those edges of that and soften that movement just with some of the yellow back into our brush. Just tap right along the edges of that and soften that exchange and that movement. And sometimes I will go back and forth, maybe put a little bit of that brown and let's go a little bit of that red violet back into that. and just use the corner of the brush and tap in a little different color. The thing is, as an artist, is you always want to move around with your colors, always changing your colors. Don't get, I always tell my students, and I've said it to you on hundreds of these videos, don't paint too long with the same color, because then you'll just flatten out your composition. Touch that color, express that color, then move, change the color and move. Go back, hit the palette again, and find a different color and move and do it again. Okay? And it's so very, very true. Let's take a little quinacridone violet and a little red violet here. And let's come in and just make some dark petals here to these little edges of these primroses here. We'll let the light come in to the center there. We'll change color slightly. Here, come back and stroke them again. Here like that. Little primrose, little, or just like little wild roses. Here, they look like little wild roses too. Could be any, just a nice little rose shape. Let's lighten this up just a bit as it comes out to here, so it'll have a little different look on this one out here. Change the color so it's a little darker in a few areas. Always refer back to your palette. In the very back here, I want these edges a little lighter, so I go back over here towards that light and just redress, restate that light right there like that. Maybe even a little lighter. You can pick up a little paint and just step into that lightness right here like this, and that, adding more paint, adding more texture or stroke right there like that, just brings a little more interest right into that particular flower right there. So you can bring some of that lightness in to here. Let's take a little bit of that red, just add a bit of that. You can work your finger in and out to help soften and bring some of those colors together like that. And I'm constantly looking for different shapes out here onto these petals, so that I try not to paint each one exactly the same. Now, these down here got a little more purple, so let's just add a little more bluish color to these, and let's get these just a little more purple here, right in there like that, and just touch down the edge and lift off the brush as you stroke to that center, so that purple color stays out there by the tip of the flower. Okay, so it doesn't come in too far, and that'll be a pretty little, nice little dose of purple there, right there like that. Pretty little flowers. And let's put in a softer little edge of those. I forgot to add some yellow to these. Let's put in a soft little edge in here. Here like that. Here like that. Push in and out. If you get that a little dark there, we'll just push in and out. Have a little sense of movement there. And let's take a little yellow and just splash a little yellow into the center of those. There like that. A little brownish red violet kind of color into the very center. Tap that around just a bit. You can soften that with some yellow. Put a little yellow on your brush and roll your brush and tap different corners of your brush there. That always helps a lot. Let's shape up this back edge of this rose. We'll let this one just kind of fall away here. There like that. Get some of this magenta color and just make like the little, I will, sometimes come in with a small brush like this and make little strokes that help define it a little bit more as, definitely as a rose here. Here I'll pull in some petal strokes there like that, so it looks like it's turning. The rose is turning here. Now we'll put the edge in like this. Tap into a little of the color and then just pull in just a little bit. So if this is the bowl of the rose, and we were going to put that calyx in there, but that's gone now, so we'll do it this way. That looks good. And to help around that, let's just drop this one out a little further. Give a little variation there. There we go. And it doesn't take much to suggest rose, and the viewer here will see rose, especially if they see this one as really as a rose. This one won't take very much to say it's a rose, and you will kill this painting real quick if you start to paint too much. Okay, so now we got just a pretty little rose sitting there like that. Let's take some of our whites. Let's come down in here. Let's let this rose stay very much this pinky and white color. So I'll pick up some heavy white. I love my white very, very thick. We'll strike it right there like that, and we'll paint this rose very simply here. Very simple. Just maybe a little bit of this light edge here. Okay, we don't need to say very much to this rose because it's already reading as a rose. So we may strike a lighter petal here, heavy light color, so the petal comes to the front, and pull in just a bit. I'm going to wipe that brush because I started to pick up a little green. Sometimes I'll leave that green so I get transparency. This time I'm going to lift it out just a bit here, because if I play with that too much, I'll make that whole petal green, because my color here is so soft and that green is so powerful, that green will overtake it too quick. So I'm just going to take it out. And that's something how do you know that? That's just something that you'll get from trial and error. There will be nothing that beats you painting 500 roses. I can teach you all the things and all the tricks and everything like that. And you can watch all the videos, but you have to sit down and you have to paint. So you learn these little tricks, and you learn your palette, you learn your colors. So I know that was going to give, that pine green could give me trouble. So I got rid of it. I lifted it out. And that you'll know. And if you're an artist that changes brands of paint back and forth all the time, you really do yourself a disservice, because each brand is a little different. So, it's I paint with one, and I like this one. I can control it very easy. It does what I want it to do. I'm not trying to sell you anything here, but what I'm just telling you is that I know these colors, and that's why I try to teach my students with a limited palette, so that they learn the colors very quickly. Now, I'm just stroking a heavy white across here like this, and just pulling down like that. Just pulling that in and pulling down. Okay, we'll take a little bit more of the darker color, and we'll just suggest some movement here with some of the dark, because that can be done just as well out here like this. Some of these darks here like this to suggest this side of the rose with some darks. Maybe a little bit of the light here. That's all that really needs, and that becomes a real pretty little rose sitting there like that. Okay, now let's just take a little more pine green. Let's take a little bit of blue. We're darkening it with some blue, not some black, some blue. And let's just add a little touch here and there of a shadow. So it's going to have like a little shadow right where that leaf comes in, and I'll just pull across the width of the like here it's going to be like right in here. I'll imagine a vein line coming through, and a little shadow at the base of the leaf there. We don't need to do too much here, but a little shadow right into these whole areas in here. Let's just put a little idea of a shadow out here onto these leaves. Not very much, just little bits here and there. Little strokes here. Go like that. Little strokes like that. out here like that. Let's just get a few little movement lines. I like just little strokes of movement. Let's go to a lighter green, yellowy green here. I like to get a little bit of movement, like green movement. Sometimes I'll make little blossoms and stuff, but I'll just kind of hit and miss around here a bit. Let's make a lighter green and just touch just a couple of our main leaves up into the front of our composition here. Right there, there will be one right there. And that'll just put a nice light yellow green there. Okay. Very pretty, very different, very bright, cheerful colors. Here, darken it down just a bit so we can come out here, but so you'll see the color, but not quite as light here. Little touches of that, just little hits of this there, out there on those. There we go. Sometimes I take and I just corner the brush a little like this and just draw little edges and corners, and I don't want to do too perfect there. I don't want to play that just too much. I want to keep these leaves secondary to the roses. But I can really generate, let's get a little blue in that, really generate a lot of nice interest right in here by keeping that real dark blue-green right in there, right up against that edge of that rose, right in there, and that will be my high contrast interest area of the painting. Where will these whites and this darker color come together? Right in there. Nice high contrast area of the painting. We'll put a little green tip out there like that. Let's leave that like that. That's pretty nice. Now I could put a few little touches back in here into the rose just for some movement. That's about all that needs. Doesn't need any more than that. Then we'll come back out here and let's look to some light. Now that we have some of the light on that rose, we can add some light out here to the like little primroses here. A little bit more light color. A little bit. And just push that back and forth and let those colors just kind of, let your finger just kind of soften those colors together there. Now we can take some more yellow. Let's model in some of that light color. Even put a little purpley color in there, just light. And let's just tap that around that center there. Yellowy center of those. And that just gives you nice light, and vary the color, sometimes a little more yellow. Let's just vary that color around in there. And you know, when I'm working these types of flowers, you know, like I said before, I like to change the color a lot. I like to go back through it again and again. I like to, you know, it just adds so much, you know, interest to the whole painting here, and I like that. Here we go. Now I closed that in a little bit too much, so let's just get back in with some of our dark and just open that back up again, right in there like that. That looks good. We'll get a little bit more of our purpley color here. And get a little bit of that quinacridone into that so it's not quite so dark. The blue is very, very dark, so that's your high contrast. Just push those colors together like that a bit. And that gives you a nice streaks and some interest in there. So But the most important one is that rose that's right there, and I like the way that one's looking. Maybe a little more quinacridone, even towards that violet, just a bit. Right down here has a little bit of a deep bowl shadow right there to really say where that bowl is on it, and that's all that really needs there. So now we have a nice soft painting. Let's lose the edges of these back here just a bit. Just use your finger and just lose the edge. We'll let those just kind of fade away. Back out here, let's let that fade away. We'll take a little soft green. I even had that reddish color in my brush so it tones it down. And we'll just play this just a bit out here. See, I gotta play. I gotta play these leaves a bit. It's what I like to do. I like the movement that comes from the playing of it. And that's just the way I like to do that. So we'll grab some of that. We'll play some of that in there like that. That's pretty nice. Now, I like this this light sticking out up there through there like that. And I'm going to go back. We'll redress. We'll grab some of that lighter background color that's right over here that we used earlier. Grab a clean paper towel. Grab some of this blue and white. Yeah, grab a little bit more here. We'll just streak some of this out here like this. Some of this movement out like that. Out like that. I love that movement out there. And let's just follow through just a little bit of that out here. Just take this, and I've been doing a lot of what I call fracturing of the painting, taking the light color and just kind of traveling it through the painting like this a bit, which I think adds a lot to the painting. There we go. Here. Now like that. That's pretty good. A little more light right out here. There we go, like that. Yeah, that's just kind of pretty. That gives a nice... Now what we'll do is, let's put in our little butterfly. And we'll make him kind of a bluish little butterfly. Okay, so let's just take a lighter blue color. Let's come right down in here like this. And we'll drop in his back, his wing here that's away from us. Kind of a bluish color. Let's get a little more blue in that. Maybe even a little almost purpley color, because we have some of those purple colors there. So let's just drop in some of that. Curve this wing down like that. Point it up and curve it down. Like that. Okay. And then we'll go a little lighter here, maybe even over to this color a bit, gray it up a little bit here, and we'll drop wing out here like this, and this wing will actually be towards its shadow side, so it won't be quite so bright. Here, we'll just pull some of that through to help suggest his shape. Let's grab a little more blue, some of this grayed color down, a little red, a little green. That will darken it down just a bit here. We'll use that to suggest the edge of his wing here, like that. Let's put some tips here out on this and maybe sketch down a bit here. I use the chisel of the brush. You could use a small round and stuff, but a lot of times I like to use the chisel of the brush so that I don't make things perfect. I like even on the little butterflies in here to the edges to be soft and not perfect. I think you can get too perfect and the thing loses interest, so we don't want to get that. Here, let's just tap on some other little parts of the butterfly here. There, like that. Let's get a soft little blue here. So change the blue just a bit here, just to add a little bit in, just so it changes up here. Maybe put a light edge. Let's get some white. Let's just put that right on the chisel of our brush here. Let's just get a light edge right in there. Right like that. And we'll take a little stroke of light down there on the bottom of him. Maybe a little bit of gray to help define that bottom edge. So you got the dual wing there. That looks kind of nice. I'm going to arch this wing just a little bit front, down like that. That'll soften it too. That'll keep him very soft. Now I'm just going to grab my little round that I like to use here, my little number 4 round, and I'll take some of my purpley color. We'll put a little green with that. I'm not going to add black this time. Sometimes I use black, and I'm not going to do that this time. And we'll come in. Matter of fact, now we're getting some of this little detail. Let's come in a little closer here, and I'm just going to come in and kind of suggest, just tap a few times, just kind of suggest his head there. You can suggest his feelers out here like this, his little antenna or his little feelers here. Just suggest, that was a little harsh, so I want to take that out just a bit, soften that out. And see, I just love to just run my finger through it and just blurry it. It doesn't need to be a perfect little line. Just run your finger through it and just blurry it and give him like the idea of the little feeler there. And tap a little bit of this into the shape of his body here. It doesn't have to have a, perfect little shape to anything here. Just very suggestive. That's the way I like to do with these. Now we'll just take just like 2 hairs of this little brush and just drag down here and suggest some of his legs and stuff there. Very suggestive. I paint very, very suggestive like this. And the viewer's eye will do the rest of it. Let's just put on just one little hair of this brush. Just a little hair of this brush here. There, like that's the little feelers of him right there coming out like that. And I think that's take a look at that, and I think that's all I'm going to do on this painting. It's kind of a fun, pretty little painting. Hope you enjoyed it. It's another fast, fun little go here on some of these paintings. They're a lot of fun to do. You can do these on everything, and they're quick, they're fun, and I hope you enjoy them. And look for more of us on all of our videos at Jansen Art Studio and on our Painting Simply channel. Okay? See you next time. Bye-bye.